You love it. What's up, everybody? So we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Penhurst. It's about to get real. We're gonna do the walkthrough and then have some fun.
So everybody showed here. This is our first time at Penhurst tonight.
All of us.
Everybody. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you guys.
Hold on.
And especially for my two friends having their first investigation. So I think you're gonna have an awesome time today as well, my friend. I mean, what a place to start. But for everybody else here that has done an investigation before, for you guys, you've been around town, you've seen a thing or two. What I can say is, here at Penhurst, the type of evidence that we get here and the energy, the aura, it's unlike any other type of facility you've been to before. And what I'm going to be doing here for the next 45 minutes to an hour is explain to you guys why that is. And what really comes down to it most, in my opinion, is the people here. The people who lived here and the things that happened to the people that lived here really creates our unique history. And what I find that compared to any other type of investigative, spot in the country, the type of evidence you will receive here tonight is some of the most wholesome, heartwarming type of evidence you'll ever receive as an investigator. And I think for that, guys, it's really awesome compared to any other spots. But what I want to talk about first here is, why we're standing here and, kind of what we're going to be expecting tonight. And first things first, just as a heads up, sensitivity warning, we're going to be going over a lot of sensitive topics on this tour. We're going to be talking about eugenics. We're going to be talking about the suffering of disabled people for over 70 to 80 years in this institution. So I want to, kind of give you guys a heads up warning for it. And also, any questions you guys have about this space, you can ask Autumn or I. Like, we love your enthusiasm about the history. There's really no bad questions as long as we, keep it to the parameters of respect of the people who live here. And I feel like at the end of this tour, we'll all get a really good idea of what that means. But what I can say is our bar it's starting pretty low. We've been asked all sorts of like weird, strange questions. I mean, geez, I remember one tour, somebody asked us if where were the babies were born. That's literally, we're starting here. You guys are only going up, so. I know. I said air fry. Oh, there we go. Exactly. Thank you, Autumn. So now the real reason why we're here, starting the tour, unlike any other location, is so you guys know where to go for tonight. Because I want you guys to remember that ramp right there. Okay. So you'll see this over here on the side. That is going to be your main point of access. Okay. This is going to take you to any location you're going to be investigating. So that can take you from here to Mayflower. And if you make a left, it takes you to the tunnel. And if you make a right over there. That big giant building in the distance, that's the death building. Those are the three locations that you guys have here on this campus. Like Autumn was saying earlier, you guys need to go to the infirmary. Let us know so we can all drive up as a group. Now, in terms of history, the reason why I like to start here is because this is like the birthplace of the institution. Some of the buildings we're standing around right now were one of the first buildings put up here at Penhurst. For example, the Philadelphia building right behind you guys, that was the original administration hall before this place started to make its second one right over to the corner with a big cupola on top. But, before we go into buildings and, logistics of the institution, I feel like we got to get a good understanding of this place first. Autumn went over a little briefly that this place was not psychiatric. This was a state school and hospital for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and people still kind of get confused on what our crowd is, the people we're trying to talk to here. And whenever this institution first opened, the intention was to get ages, young boys from the ages of 5 to 15. That was kind of what the first, population group we were intending for. But then eugenics starts to become this widespread phenomenon within the disability community. And then we start to allow women, we start to allow adults here at the institution. So a lot of people think that this was only children only. In fact, a great portion of our population were adults here. And I wanted just to keep that in mind for you guys. And a lot of the buildings that you'll be investigating were also kid wards and also adult wards. demographics and the population change over and over throughout the history. Oh, sorry about that. But I want to give you guys just a heads up on that. And that I'm distracted. But with that out of the way, the next thing I really want to talk about is like the differences because, you know, with asylums, a lot of people, they got to leave psychiatric institutions. The goal of an asylum is to get on the right medication, get the right amount of rehab and therapy, and then go back out into society. For patients, they can also refuse the service as well, unless they were forcibly admitted into a psychiatric institute. But here at Penhurst, at these institutions, it was almost compared to a death sentence. As Autumn said, these places were almost designed to kill disabled people because they weren't going to go back out to society. In fact, society was afraid of them. You know, if I had to say why this place was built, it was built on the idea of fear and ignorance and the lack of empathy because we saw people that were different than quote unquote us, people that learned differently, people that saw the world differently, people that looked differently. I mean, that feeble-mindedness term even applied to people that were just socially inadequate. People that, even in instances, people who had a cleft lip who couldn't even really speak were considered feeble-minded individuals. Or even people that were considered too ugly. Kind of goes into the ugly laws of our history. Back, we all laugh. Scott, you won't be leaving here. We all joke and laugh about this, but like it's important to understand that at one point in society, we thought this was okay. You know, ugly laws were a real thing all the way back in California in around the late 1800s. You could have been sent to an almshouse, asylum, or a prison if you were quote unquote too ugly. And this is mainly applied towards people with developmental disabilities or people that were homeless. This happened to them. And then around this time, there was the need to create a place for these individuals with disabilities. And Penhurst was kind of going to be the first of the big, giant institutions of its time. You know, this whole place was entirely self-sufficient, its own power plant, hospital facilities, school facilities. But what we need to really understand the point of this thing is that it was also meant to keep them away from the community. Because all the people living in the Philadelphia area of this state, yeah,
it was giving you life.
Essentially, you know, and the interesting thing is that the terms to describe the people that lived here at Penhurst was not patients. It was actually called inmates. And it makes total sense because inmates will serve until their time is done. But here, their time served is a life sentence. It's terrible. And
so, in other words,
yeah.
okay, so,
Yeah, no,
but
like
nowadays, with like ADHD and autism and things like that. Back then, that would have maybe been something that would have brought.
It would have just been brought into this big term of feeble-mindedness. Now it's case by case on the individual with ADD or ADHD.
Right.
What's up?
Was this a state initiated ran type program, or was this like a man, a doctor that came in?
This was what I said. This was a whole state-run facility. The state was responsible for taking care of these individuals, housing them, and so on and so forth. But I feel like before we keep moving on, we really got to understand this idea of eugenics. So, show of hands, have any of us heard of this before? Eugenics? Yeah. Have any? So about 5 or 6 hands, and that's okay if we don't know what it is. But it's crucial to understanding why the people here suffered in the way they did. So I will say this: you guys have heard of a form of eugenics, and that's the Holocaust.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure everybody here, we've all heard of the Holocaust. That is eugenics in its prime form. But if we take a broader look at eugenics and disability, eugenics looks at bloodlines. It looks at the genetics of human beings and taking the ones that they like the most, keeping them in the gene pool, and the ones that are seen as unfavorable, remove them out. And what was unfavorable was exactly. And here in our American institutions, we targeted disabled people, people with mental illness. You know, especially with racism, people that weren't white, they made their way into eugenics because they saw them as undesirable. They weren't as superior as white genetics, and it's because we couldn't legalize sterilizations here in the state or murder of disabled people. We just decided to institutionalize, and then through eugenics separating them so they didn't have children. The end goal being we can fix disability, and there will be no more disabled people in the population. But as we've known today, we can't fix disability. Yeah, what's up?
What about payment? Because I know a lot of hospitals.
So yeah, that would have been a lot of psychiatric. Like that would have made it into mostly psychiatric. It's like you ever heard the term hysteria?
Yeah.
So that was actually first applied to women, but women being overly emotional. But that was actually a psychiatric condition, and it's and like and but what's up?
So you mentioned sterilization. Something I would like to point on is it was legal in the state. In fact, actually, it did not happen here. I've never found a record for it. However, I do know the spoken history of an individual that lived here who said that she was sterilized here. And are we surprised that they didn't take records? But I do have confirmed sterilizations in the state. In fact, actually, Elwyn, which is an institution today, it's still running today, was the head point of sterilization in the state, and they conducted 270 sterilizations, forced sterilizations on disabled folk throughout the 1900s. In their history tab on their website, it doesn't say anything about it, nor were they founded by eugenicists.
Merely because they didn't fit the mold.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
Exactly.
But they're not gonna say that they're the ones that did bad to
Now I'm gonna take this up for our next stop. The last thing I want to make a conversation note on. We talk about this history to kind of give you guys an edge up on your investigation tonight. But what I really want you to really hone in is that we think that these places are so far from us that a lot of these abandoned asylums and also institute state schools and hospitals are no longer existent, but that's far from the truth. In fact, there is over 5 institutions here in the state of Pennsylvania that are still in operation that were designed to be state schools and hospitals to house individuals with disability. In fact, 13 states here in the U.S. have legalized institutions. And kind of our end goal being is that we spread awareness to this so we never repeat this ever again. Because disabled folks should be living in the community. They should be living with their families, not in an institution. But let's continue our walk.
So guys, welcome to Penhurst. You're gonna go on the tour with us. It is about a 45-minute to an hour tour. So we're gonna have some fun. I see Nando joined us tonight. What's up, Nando? How you doing, brother? IG. What up, IG? And of course, Mr. himself, Brian John Last. Yeah, actually, Mackenzie made a note of this earlier. These lights that you guys see right here are almost the same ones that we have at the house, so that's kind of cool. But this campus, guys, when I tell you it's huge, it's freaking huge. Yeah, we have access to 3, I think, right? Yeah, we have access to 3 buildings and also the infirmary, but that's all the way over there. So we got the Wicked Queen right here.
So,
and you know who this is. You know who this is.
hi.
And then there's Jason.
Okay, Howard, I'm going to flip the camera.
Oh, you ready?
I think you need to go to the wagon and carry my book.
Listen.
So this next stop here, I also just wanted to stop here so you guys can get a better view of where you're supposed to be. So that's Devin. That's their entrance is going to be that door right there off to the side.
Okay.
You keep going straight ahead. Like if you're going to get to the tunnel,
Oh,
you're
okay.
at this point and follow the lights.
Okay.
Follow the lights all the way down, and then you'll get to the entrance of the tunnel.
Okay.
Cool, they're shiny. I won't get lost.
Yep. Yeah.
I like shiny.
Because I forgot to
Yep.
bring red.
That's what I'm going to talk about right here.
No, I'd eat them. Chrissy is live as well. Yep, Chrissy's live.
Hello.
Yeah.
And somebody else is live too.
So
think he's
about the buildings that are currently surrounding us now. I briefly talked about the tunnel, and as a fun fact, anywhere you see catwalk is directly underneath you is a tunnel.
Oh,
They
wow.
pretty much connect to every single building here on the lower campus.
Then,
And then,
if I may
So-
ask real quick,
Yeah.
what was the purpose of the tunnels
So,
to like hide people even more while
So-
they were moving them? Or-
what I've noticed is that a lot of hospitals and state schools that were built during the early 1900s had underground tunnel systems inside of them. And a lot of them were used to transport utilities,
Oh.
transport food.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
it was very common for a non-ambulatory ward like the first floor of Quaker, where people generally, housing 70 to 80 people at a time in there. It's almost impossible for the staff members to take them all to the lunch building. So I'm at the dining building. So what they would do is they prepare meals, ship them through the tunnels, ship them over through the catwalks.
Oh.
into the
So they didn't
facility.
have to
Okay.
come out
Exactly.
into the elements
Exactly.
to get to the buildings.
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, they could also transport people to the tunnels as well. We had therapy in basements. For example, the Mayflower building, the basement section, a lot of it had multiple uses of therapy. So if you're inside of this building, it made more sense to use the tunnel to
The
get through.
tunnel.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's faster. And the building right behind me, right here, Quaker, I feel like you really can't talk about Penhurst without mentioning this building. It's really infamous to our history. And I feel like we got to discuss a few things about this building first before we really start talking about the other stories about this building. Because a lot of ghost hunters have came here, and a lot of people think of this building as where our quote unquote violent people were.
Oh,
And
okay.
But we got to take a look at our population and what this environment was like. Because here at Penhurst, especially during our heyday, we had over 4,000 people admitted here to this institution. An average of 100 people living per floor in a residential building.
Great.
And take a guess, guys, of how many staff members would be responsible for taking care of
One or
100
two.
people. Actually, right on the money. Right on the money. One or two. Try to, for 1 second, to walk onto a floor and have to be responsible for over 50 human beings.
It's impossible.
It's literally, it's borderline impossible. It's such a heavy task. It's like you can't even get your job done right. And it was even worse for the people living in there, because what did that mean? It means that they weren't getting taken care of.
Neglection.
Exactly, the neglect. And for especially non-ambulatory folks that can't get up and use the bathroom, what happens? They're
Yeah.
sitting in their own
Right.
Bed sores.
Bed
Eggs.
sores.
bed sores. I mean, there was a thing here that was developed called flat back syndromes, because individuals were laying down for so long that they couldn't even bend up and look over their cribs.
Wow.
So, and to imagine to live in that building and your whole existence as a human being was the crib, not being able to leave that crib.
So there were
Exactly.
just constantly were like actual
Yes,
cribs with
exactly.
the sides up on them.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, our crib wars, we're not talking infants, we're talking adults,
Adults.
living inside of giant metal cribs. But also, depending on the ward, if there was younger children, still them
Right.
living inside the cribs. But whenever we're talking about our ambulatory folks, whenever we're, like I said, not a lot of people are getting attention. They're not getting taken care of. And one thing that happened here is if you were being violent or if you were doing something that required an aid to stop you immediately, it got the attention on you. It meant that you were going to be taken care of. So we need to look at it from a perspective that this is an environment that's built to make you, quote unquote, a violent person. They're not violent people.
Right.
No.
But what
To
they're trying to
make
do is
you
just
aggressive.
essentially just to get taken care
Right.
of. Exactly.
Attention.
Exactly. Whenever I feel like we talk about our spirits, our ghosts that we're trying to talk to, we're not talking to bad people. We're talking to victims,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, understood people, misunderstood
Oh,
people.
heavily.
Well, they were
Heavily
abused and
misunderstood.
neglected, and they weren't being heard, so they're going to
Yeah,
express
they're
it.
gonna,
Exactly.
yeah, they're gonna speak out
Exactly.
any way they
And,
can.
whenever we're looking, at people with neurodivergence, we also understand that this institution was also built to disrupt them entirely, because with thousands of people on site 24/7, there's so much noise.
Oh,
It's such an overwhelming,
Yeah.
overcrowded
yeah,
environment.
the cry for
Exactly.
help and cries
Exactly.
for help and
Constant
Exactly.
overstimulation.
Yeah.
Too, though.
Yeah.
It's just they're not just in their functions.
so
too.
maximum what was like the absolute highest number of people they had here at any one time.
At,
Would you
at,
say?
at one time, so now at one time we had over 4,000 to almost 5,000 registered Penhurst patients, but during this time we were also doing annexes. We were sending them to other
Oh, okay.
facilities. This
Okay.
was around the 1950s. So,
Okay.
but on record, about almost 5,000 residents, around 5,000 residents registered that were then because of how many people we had here, we had to send them to other
Right.
facilities.
Yeah. Now, I did read something, speaking of the
Yeah.
numbers, I read that over the 79-year history.
Yeah.
That this facility had, I believe they said like 10,600.
Yeah, 10,600 registered.
And at least half of them perished.
Exactly.
Okay.
And,
Okay. 'Cause I wanted to make sure I had
yeah,
my facts
and,
right.
and the fascinating things about the people that perished here is that, almost most of the people that perished died before the age of 30.
Really?
Yes.
So it wasn't like a geriatric type thing of death.
Well, we also did have geriatric. We had lots of
Okay.
elderly people here, but we also need to understand a lot of people died before the 1950s.
Right.
We had Spanish influenza hit Penhurst. We had
Okay.
tuberculosis hit Penhurst.
Okay.
But also, one thing that we've noticed over time is that the life expectancy of a disabled person has risen exponentially ever since institutions have closed down. And I think that is a great thing.
Yeah.
That disabled people are living longer, fulfilling lives.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that shows you the comparison there.
Interesting.
Yeah, but and it also gives you an example of the neglect. What was the Penhurst priorities here? It wasn't to rehabilitate and to help these individuals grow. Let's just survive the day.
Basically,
Right.
Let's make sure
locking
they're
them
fed
away.
and changed.
Yeah.
You know what I
now,
mean?
I also read a little
Yeah.
part where it said, I believe it was in the 70s, that a local newspaper did an article and actually called this facility the embarrassment
the shame of
or the
Pennsylvania.
shame of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it was the Pottstown Mercury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually
okay.
very local. Yeah, the Pottstown Mercury in the 1970s
Okay.
wrote that article about us. And even beforehand, in 1968, a young NBC Philadelphia reporter by the name of Bill Baldini comes here with the camera crew and films a world-changing expose called "Suffer the Little Children."
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm glad that you guys have. Yeah, what's up? Have any of us seen "Suffer the Little Children"?
I watched it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was heart-wrenching.
It was an eye-opening experience.
It was
Exactly.
heart-wrenching.
We talk about the stories of Penhurst, but that is the visualization. And some of the statistics that was shown in this report was even earth-shattering as well. That only 7% of the population was put into rehabilitation. So 93% of the population here are just living aimless lives, not being rehabilitated, not being worked with socially or intellectually. They were just living.
Wow.
And also in that report, it showed that at the Philadelphia Zoo, they were getting more funding for their daily upkeep of animals than human beings here at Penhurst. Where at the zoo, it was $7.10. But here at
Dang.
Penhurst, it was $6.80 for human beings. Exactly.
Wow.
But what was your question?
Did they actually do any kind of
So
individual?
what
I
we
don't know if you
yeah.
said that and I missed it. but-
Yeah, so what we've understood here in our institution, to be a person in here, you didn't have the right to consent for yourself.
Right.
In fact, the Constitution doesn't apply to disabled people till like the 1970s. And because of that, it was common for individuals inside of institutions to be experimented on for vaccine development. In fact, a few hours away in Western PA, the polio vaccine gets developed because they were injecting young people.
Oh, wow.
Just from that, I saw like you lit up right as soon as I.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
What's up? Oh,
That's
Yeah.
just so, not right now, just so we.
yeah. Let's take you guys inside Devin
Oh.
before we get started.
Really hard to navigate.
Sadly, I can't, Brian. It won't let me. My phone's messed up with that. It's streaming, but we're gonna try to brighten this up as much as we can, guys.
Yeah, you can't use your flashlight.
Here, give you guys a shot, and this is only some of it.
You made my life.
All right, so everybody's saying about flashlights for this one, so we're gonna turn these on. Ooh, that's not bad. Holy crap, B! I just got these in bright as fuck. There we go. There you go, Brian. So you got some light. Got some light. I'm gonna bring up the rear.
No.
And so they put a however, originally this building was filled with open lanes, the big open ones. If you want to look at the side, it might this.
No, Brian, I'm not. I have a camera. Who's this motherfucker? Hey, what's up? Oh, don't worry. I'll scream like a bitch. Figured you'd find the showers. Howard finds the toilet, you find the showers.
I'm gonna scrub his back later.
Oh, okay, cool. Please, somebody will. Now I just gotta find me a closet and I'll be all set. What? I knew I needed to be here. What's up? My name's right behind you.
So, in terms of
Hi.
trying to get the which is one of the most infamous spots in the country here. I want to show you guys that first so you don't forget.
The way that the building is laid out is like a big H. This is our center point. There's two wings on either side. They're identical. First and second floor are identical, and both sides are identical. Easy to get lost. That's why I tell you the stairwell. But the basement is quite interesting. Has a full-size gymnasium as well as like the super infamous haunted kitchen.
Apparently I've been here.
Every single time. It's there.
I just want to point out real quick, guys. Check this out. Yeah, grading on the stairwell.
What? Oh, I always do it before So, as we're waiting for our last friends to come downstairs, what I want to point out is whenever you're going to go to Candyland, you're going to go down the steps and you're going to go left.
So what's Candyland?
Candyland. Yeah, you'll see. You'll see why we call it that.
Okay,
Come on.
I'm excited.
I'm a faction, dude. Candy, I'm happy.
I like strawberry.
Wasn't one was born, it was named D5. But this side always kind of has a weird vibe to it. Like even Big Chip doesn't like this.
Like, I will say, like, as an investigator here, this is the only place I haven't conquered walking by myself. Like, I just.
Nobody
I
likes
haven't.
that side.
I'm going to that side.
But down this way.
Now it's different. Like, we have people. I can do it right now by myself.
Oh, I'll come skipping. I'll go skipping through here. Let's go. Jason, what do you think about all this?
I'm trying to do one of these challenges and walk down one of these dark hallways.
Let's just let everybody know that. Oh, I'll wait.
Besides for you, Sam. Usually with the kitchen, it's possible the gym is possible.
Yeah.
They like go back and forth.
Holy crap. Oh, apparently they see us. Scotty, they see us. I see you. Guys, this is freaking massive. Nipples. Hey, Liz. Hey, Squeaks. Who else is here? Georgia, Raymond. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to pay attention to what's going on right now. I apologize if I missed seeing you, but I do appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in the.
Oh.
Commonly recognized as a recreation space, but also used for physical therapy and occupational therapy as well, down here in the space.
I always like to point out with this mural, everybody calls the mural for kids, and there's this kid in here. He's right here, he's in a wheelchair. And I think it's quite funny how the only person who can tell the spirit is the one that's obviously disabled. Showing the history and showing what prioritization we were putting on a population that was older than this. Like very, very low key kind of transgression.
Yeah.
between the population.
Or the back.
At the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Hidden.
Yeah.
Outside.
Yeah.
And it's unrecognized village is can't even give them that.
Scotty found a ball to play with.
All I'm on.
And
It's all mine.
They like the person.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Now, the next space we want to show you guys here is actually the tub rooms, how to get in there as well.
They're a little hidden, so we like.
Yeah, they are a little bit. You want to try to-
And just to let everybody know who's watching, they actually have a challenge for these tunnels. Scotty, myself, and a few others have volunteered to do this challenge. Apparently, we go into these tunnels by ourselves.
Well, you definitely wouldn't be able to tell if the house was black or cold. It's cold in the building in general.
I feel a cold spot. No shit.
The whole building.
No kidding.
Yeah.
There's a draft.
Very common, it's much colder here than it is out there. Oh, yeah. I usually since the heat rises, so we'll just put it below the basement.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else.
Yep.
Shine your light down
Maybe
there,
a
babe.
few seconds for those.
Just to show you guys the distance here. Kenzie's got her flashlight down here, and we can barely see the end of it.
I'm walking down this hall by myself. by the way.
Say,
All right.
so,
I will. Let's go.
all right, we'll go up to the top.
Did he just say
And
go? I
nobody's ever been able to walk down the hallway by themselves.
think we're gonna have some firsts here tonight.
A lot of firsts.
I'm going to. I'm doing it.
If you do it,
Oh, how about this? Let's do it together. We're gonna walk the hallway by ourselves together. That's paranormal logic right there. Holy crap.
This is what people kind of used to have in the 60s.
So think
Yeah.
of this kind of space as like a locker room before you go into the showers. This would have been a space for aides, staff members, that they would have been getting their guys nude and then ready to go into the tub. And now every single time you're going to be here at Penhurst inside of the Devon building, it's set up like where there's wards on each far side of the building. And then in the center, you'll have storage rooms. You'll even still see some of the closets that have sheets marked on it. And then you'll have your tub rooms. And each little tub room will be tucked right inside of these big lockers. Right there. So maybe everyone upstairs.
Cast iron.
Oh yeah. You guys can see that. It's an old cast iron radiator. That is cool.
Wow. Hello.
Now, I'm trying to remember the paranormal group that was doing it, but I think it was Destination Fear. They were here in the tub room and they were doing an EVP. And one of the craziest things they got evidence-wise on EVP is that they heard water running in their EVP as they were listening back from investigating the tub room.
Oh,
So I would say this is also a space to even try to record your EVPs inside of listen. But I wanted to show you guys that because it's really significant to our history here. In fact, one thing that I always find that, one thing that we understand about the paranormal is that a lot of haunted spaces become haunted because of trauma. And there's the environment haunted spaces. And I find that a lot of people, especially from friends who I know personally that lived in hospitals in places like Penhurst, that bathrooms are very traumatic spaces. I mean, to think that we're our most vulnerable whenever we're inside the bathrooms. I mean, whenever we're, even whenever we had our best numbers here, where it was 48 people per ward instead of over 100, there was still 12 people constantly lined outside the station before coming in here.
In front of
the
other
space in front of other people, not giving them privacy here. And even staff members using large amounts of force to get them into the tubs or get them into the showers. This was a huge spot of suffering for the disabled folks. So I would say this is also a spot to be very, gentle. Exactly.
Did they have dementia people here too, or would that be?
Oh, yeah, we had residents with dementia here.
Cause I used to be a nurse's aide, and I worked in the dementia ward, and it sucked to have to like force people to take baths and stuff. But you couldn't,
exactly.
some of them you couldn't be nice with, cause they would throw punches and stuff at you.
Exactly. Yeah, it took a whole team to operate this, to get people into the tub spaces or to take a shower. But I wanted to show you guys that.
Sorry, guys, I was crashing. Hey.
I knew all that. He came up and I couldn't see him in the dark and I was like, I just wanted to be with this person.
It was like an introducer.
Such an uncomfortable environment.
I know, right? I'm like, I feel like here's that he knew, like, push me towards.
So I showed you guys the tub spaces. Now I want to show you a little bit more of the lower campus before I think it's getting pretty dark. But I will at least show you guys a little bit more of the lower campus before you guys start investigating. So, yeah, so I want you guys to follow me out. I don't need to worry. Oh, yeah.
Now we're heading back outside, guys.
Yes, it is, but I'm not going to.
Of course, yeah, automatic.
Oh.
I know, I'm sure.
I was like,
Like, holy crap, it's starting already.
I was like, was that mine or? Because I'm notorious for dropping everything.
I'm surprised that mine still works. How many times I've dropped it.
Tell me about it. That's why I got all the good cases on my phone and everything else.
Broken so many phones. I learned it from Autumn. I learned it from a former Penhurst staff member.
We have a doctoral candidate that's like a dissertation on the history of the site and how it interacts with us.
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating. He knows like a brief to that. And it's like, he goes to the Pennsylvania State Archives, and so it's like legitimate information we wouldn't have access to otherwise. But
Yep.
it's brilliant the way that we've been able to.
Oh, you guys can't see it. It's all right.
Hard to see it.
So we don't want to go this way?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys, how well you guys can see that. These buildings are pretty huge, but holy crap, there is. So behind this tree right here, there's actually a metal playground. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. There's a swing set, slide, seesaw. So, I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that, but yeah, there's a slide in that playground. There's a monkey bars. Monkey bars you might be able to see. I don't know if you can. And a little monkey bars right there. Holy crap. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so they're amazing people. Yeah, dude, it's oh, oh, I see. Oh, there's a drone. You guys fly the drone today? No. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, I was like, so here we are. Behind me right here, this is the front entrance to the dietary building here at Penhurst. Now, we had two separate campuses here. We had the lower campus and then we had the upper campus. Women lived on the upper campus. That's all the way across the hill. And here at the lower campus is where all the boys and all the men lived here at Penhurst. And the reason why was because our eugenics, we wanted to keep them separate. In fact, the superintendent here was so fearful of men and women getting together, he would quote them as potential criminals. And he would quote the words of the American leading eugenicists at the time to build our separate campuses, to keep them entirely separate. And for this building here, we used to have two parts. It's a men's dining room and then also a women's dining room. And the reason being, eugenics, once again. And one thing that I always try to compare to is, the Holocaust compared to our eugenics here in the United States. And one thing that's also important to point out is that we used to have a railroad that ran through Penhurst. It used to be right in front of the spot like okay, and he used to go up the hill straight through Penhurst. We had to stop right here at the institution. And a former Penhurst aide told me a story once that there was a person that did it here at the railroad. Their parent was so desperate to get them here at the institution because at one point we had a waiting list for 1,000 people. So the parent gave them a nameplate. The child's name stopped at Penhurst. And from there, we're sleeping into the institution. And to think of our similarities between concentration camps and institutions. So let's ask, how did they separate the people at Auschwitz? Well, it was by men camps and women camps. So that way they weren't mingling. How
It was also by race.
Exactly, and by race as well. Hitler also targeted people of color. He also targeted disabled people too. He liked what was happening in our American institutions. And how did those prisoners at concentration camps make their way there? Training. Exactly. And then we also talked about earlier with experimentation, the question that you brought up, and what happened to these vulnerable people because they no longer had consent in writing themselves. They were experimental. And those are like the big three similarities that I've found with our American institutions and then what's happening internationally. And the crazy fact is that Adolf Hitler in the 1930s, before even starting his Nazi reign, took inspiration from our American institutions. There was a professor at the University of Minnesota doing work at in the Midwest developing American institutions, and he actually invited him to come overseas and talk eugenics because Hitler believed in what was happening with our feeble-mindedness eugenics movement. He thought that these individuals were heavily inferior, that these individuals should no longer belong in the gene, knowing how
part of his massacre.
exactly because he believed in white supremacy. He believed in the supremacy of his people. Yeah. Of course. I mean, our vaccines. Our vaccines were like some of the polio vaccine was like one of the biggest things that we developed in the medical field. Vaccine. Of course, there was huge benefits, but it's like at what cost? Exactly. Use people that were exactly vulnerably challenged or had disabilities. That's inhumane. Oh, especially after post-mortem, especially after he passed away. I mean, there was lots of. I mean, there was even a study. I mean, all the way like over 100 years ago, where they were studying school sizes and having a smaller school and having a smaller brain meant that you were not as intelligent. So a lot of studies were done after these people passed away to see what was going on. And
And obviously we learned today it's not true. School size does not mean your level of intellect or the shape of your school does not mean yeah. And the amount of time taking to start and these would be word of others, they put it in your chest. And like yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was positive things. I mean, like the reason why our special education, world or classrooms or nursing, or even our nursing field is improved is because what happened here. I mean, you're standing on one of the biggest human rights movements in world history. So there was, but then the question is, at what cost? Was it worth it that we had people suffer because of that? Exactly. But yeah, we can say there was positive things, but it came at the cost of people that they were suffering. Exactly.
Yeah.
When they
So parents were informed that they weren't allowed to visit until 30 days of a Penhurst and they lived here. And then once that passed, they were only allowed to visit from Thursday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that parent visitation, funnily enough, would take place in the Liver building right over across. And where the building extends outwards to the right, that is where the parent visitation group used to be. Now, if you had a loved one that lived here, you weren't going to see them except for the different side of it. You would see them in the parent visitation. We had a reasoning because of one, HIPAA, we got to protect the privacy of the other people living here, and also the idea of not creating a loss because people weren't. It was very common. We had this kind of idea that had to have someone with a disability family is similar to have like especially where people were very religious. A lot of people felt like their families had sinned. Because of their sin, you were now given a quote unquote defective child. And it's so terrible that we used to look at human beings as being affected or defective. It's kind of like an industrial revolution way of looking at people that you have value by being productive. I mean, that's not true. I mean, all of us here offer something unique and amazing to the world. Doesn't matter what limitations are placed upon us. But, that was kind of our standards of looking at human beings.
And was that building not representative of the conditions within the other
It
building?
was carpeted. It was a carpeted room.
I assumed.
the reason why I was able to find out that was a visitation center was because it had carpet, and that was so unsettling because nowhere here has carpeting. Because when we think about it, it's completely inconducive to patient life. Like most of us never got potty trained, and so it was very important that we're able to clean up messes very quickly. And so all of our furniture is rubber, easy to clean. Floors, cement, constantly. Now in there, it's carpet. And I'm like, what the hell? Why is there carpet in here? Like, there's no way people lived in here. It's the first floor. It makes sense. They needed all the first floor that they needed because 50% of us couldn't walk, and so we couldn't live up on the second floor. Why? Space. I also look around in the space and it's still so colorful. They have a recreation board up on the wall that has all the activities and everything. The walls are painted way more colorfully than any of the other buildings. It's still in remarkably better condition. They had a little dining area in there. They had a commissary.
I heard that.
Our barber shop was in there. All of these beautiful little amenities
Yeah.
are a freaking amazing factory workshop in the
Did anybody-
basement that was
did any of
used
us
as
hear
kind
that
of a
on the
demonstration.
live?
Hey, this is what your friends are
No.
doing, learning how to do these skills. All of
Yeah.
this.
I just heard a straight up scream.
Okay, so like,
Exactly.
It's so much easier.
That was weird. Did you hear that?
It's so much easier to believe.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Easy getting the news. And then
Right.
when it's this colorful environment and all the ladies in there are so nice and you don't get to see what's actually happening. Do any activities that they like
Slow,
And I actually
slow,
thought,
slow.
the way you're talking reminds me of nursing homes.
it's
It's
incredibly
yeah.
similar.
Especially like the nursing homes that are
Right?
more
Brian, did you hear that?
stricken.
And it's the same
area.
kind of infrastructural problems.
Or did
that
anybody-
we have overcrowding.
Did anybody else hear that?
In our care, we have a lack of empathy. not paying our workers enough to care. And there's not enough workers.
It's like, I know where I live. Every little corner now of senior living
Yeah.
is being built up as
It's kind of gonna take over for me.
And I know some people we can't, take care of our loved ones and we have to work full time
Yep.
and pay our own bills and we can't afford to care for them anymore at home. But those I've been in those nursing homes
You didn't hear it,
where
Ryan?
in the
Okay.
poverty levels and it's like it smells like shit and it smells like urine and it's like and then you have that one that is yelling for help and you're like, oh my god, I'm so sad right now. But like you mentioned activities and I know like
What do you have on you? Do you have your beside your amethyst?
they have
Do you have any other crystals?
now beds set up so that the individuals who have dementia
Or,
take care of the
yeah, obsidian.
and they have their children.
Hey, Scotty. Before we start the investigation, have him stop by my car. I got something that might help him.
We got a shit ton of that. Sincerely, your existence here was determined by this kind of invisible boundary that they distinguished.
I'm not giving this
It was
away.
called
No.
you're literally hopeless or you're a work.
What's up, David?
And so it's okay. I can take care of other patients. I can go do work. I can go to classes. They have faith that I can learn more skills. But after you're like 16 and you're not showing those skills, they give up with you. You're deemed
48
hopeless.
minutes.
And so for the majority of
when
the people here was 7% of the population that ever
happened.
saw any of those classes, that ever saw any of that training. And so the amount that actually got to take part in that was so little, it was almost insignificant. Because if you didn't catch up in time, we're deemed hopeless.
And
it's very distressing.
yeah, and like those that were capable of working were almost worked to death. I mean, we have records showing that people passed away from heat exhaustion inside of on the farms.
Yes,
And what Autumn said, like Penhurst inmates taking care of other Penhurst inmates. To try to conceptualize that for a second, why is that happening? That other inmates are forced to take care of other inmates. Yeah.
They dealing with 100 patients
Yeah.
in my ward. And
I know what it because I have a lot of friends who are in special education because I was a preschool teacher, so I get it. And it's not an easy.
No.
It takes a special individual to work with individuals that. I have nephews they passed away, but I had nephews that were totally disabled. Their life expectancy was 3 years old, but they lived in country. So I get it, but it's
not a job you can just look at.
No.
It is
You
a
have to be one where you actually care about.
Yeah. And there were people who did care.
Absolutely.
I mean,
we try really hard not to push down on the employees.
Do you get any of those here the
Hello.
Occasionally, yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello,
Musto.
A lot of spirit box.
A lot of the times, it's so funny you say that because most of the time when we're doing spirit boxes, it's almost like we're invading on their conversation. Like we're just listening to them talk back and forth. A lot of the times they're not even entertained by us.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Scotty,
times
you
it
too?
does seem kind of
Yeah.
almost
It's gonna be hard to
residual,
find
especially
mine.
with the
It's cold
employee
out.
hauntings, because I think like I work here for 30 years
Yes.
doing the same thing on a routine every year. There's gonna be
Yep.
and there were people that lived here.
I did
What was that?
Yeah.
What was that?
I didn't get a hold of that. Aaron, as soon as he got here.
Talking shit about me?
Scotty, I left my
Talking
G-string
shit.
in your hotel room.
I did, you got a hold of Matt, okay.
She's typically seen.
No, Matt got a hold of you. Matt got a hold of you.
What was that?
Matt got a hold of Scotty. Scotty came running at me. I picked his ass up.
And I humped the hell out of him.
It does kind of make sense that
Pictures for video for.
I think Chrissy has. I think Chrissy took a video.
Chrissy did take a video, as a matter of fact. So it did happen.
He almost went in the trunk.
No, I did not shave my leg.
But one of the
But
most interesting interactions I
I
had
don't know
with
if y'all can
Jimmy
see
is
that.
talking to a bunch of kids, adults down there having a really
I
good
got my
time, and
knee
you
on
hear
the-
this like
got my
deep
knee
male
on the
voice come over the
sofa.
spirit box, and everything stops. And it's like, go away, we were having a good time.
Curiosity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll put you back
Yeah,
on these
Quaker,
guys because
the
I'm
flower.
boring. You know.
Like I know that's all like Philadelphia where
Yes.
the
Absolutely. Most are named after places in Pennsylvania or their use. Industry, dietary, laundry, for example, maintenance. Otherwise, Philadelphia, Hershey, Rockwell, all those Devon places in Pennsylvania. There's some that are extraneous, like I haven't yet found a place in Pennsylvania called Mayflower.
Yeah.
However, we can kind of get it's a constitutional,
Yeah.
it's Commonwealth,
Yeah.
that kind of.
Ship. Yep.
Well, the Quakers.
Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
represents America. But
Initially, they were all called by the first letter of their name. You'll hear us refer to it all the time as like M1, M2,
Q,
M3,
yeah.
Q1, Q2. It's a very
Oh,
quick
okay.
way of doing units, and so
Right.
that's how they refer to them for most of history.
But I want to show you guys another stop. Let's go take a look at the hospital
Yeah,
while we still have some time, guys.
To the hospital.
Oh, I'll tell Scotty you said hi, Liz, and hello to you. No, I don't know if anybody heard it. Brian said he didn't hear it. Around 48 minutes, so roughly 10 minutes ago, several of us heard what we thought was a disembodied scream or a screech. Possibility it was animal, but
Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I will say we have lots of foxes here. And
Oh, yeah.
You know how foxes
Yeah.
scream.
Okay.
It sounds like somebody's getting murdered when a fox.
Actually, if you don't mind, could you I'm live right now. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Caden. I'm one of the guides here at Penhurst.
Very nice. And what was that one thing that Autumn was saying about saving Penhurst, the one building? What can people do for that?
Infirmary. And one of the things that we can really try to do to save it is really the help from you guys. Whenever the customers themselves, they leave reviews on Google or they voice their opinions about the space, the owners take note of that.
Okay.
Because they want to continue to give a product that people want to see. And if you guys are vocalizing that, I would love to see this place. Like, I can't come here without seeing this place.
Yeah, you're speaking to the choir right here because this is what we do. This is what I'm about.
And that literally means the most to us is that you go inside that space tonight, you appreciate the history, and you vocalize your opinions on that. Like that's everything to us.
There you go, guys.
In my opinion, it's one of the deepest historic buildings that we have on campus.
Oh, I agree. This is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
I love it.
I work out.
With some exceptions.
I work out.
But no, you guys heard it. There you go. So I'm part of an event, and yes, I was getting there, Brian. I'm part of an event this year. It's called the Global Ghost Hunt.
Yeah.
What we're about is promoting teams and more specifically locations.
Okay.
And the founder who's running it, his name's Brian. He runs Parapost Network Central and Parapost Network.
Okay.
He's running it. So he said he'll be more than happy to help out and spread the word, and I know the rest of us will too.
Oh, that's amazing.
So that's what we do.
No, we appreciate that so much.
Yeah, that's
No, for real. That's the type of stuff that really makes the biggest moves here. Is people saying that I want to come here because of this.
well, that's literally what our community that we're a part of.
Yeah.
This is what we do. We promote people. We promote good teams, good locations, like Waverly Hills. We were just working with a group of people who helped or were a part of that to help save it.
What's amazing?
Shutting down.
There's a lot of places that need saving, honestly. And as big as we are at Penhurst, a lot of people still don't know about this place. They don't know about the history. They know about the buildings. They know about it's haunted, but they don't know how surreal this history is.
They know what they see on TV.
Exactly, and that's one thing that just drives me nuts. But you know what? Before tonight's over, let's get together and I'll give you my contact information. Love to bring you on and chat about it.
I would love that so much.
Yeah, anything we can do to help, we're more than happy to.
I would love that so much. Yeah. We'll definitely that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's on the wall in one of your buildings.
That's how I remember.
Yep. But my wife and I, we call ourselves the consultants. I'm paranormal consultant. She's the Wicca consultant. And right now I was brought on by Brian as the consultant for this global ghost hunt. So that's one thing we want to do is help out everywhere and anywhere we can.
No, I think that's amazing, and I think what you guys are doing that's really awesome stuff. Because I mean, I know we're considered one of the biggest. We get a lot of help, but there's a lot of places that do need help in terms of exposure.
Yeah, anything we can do, more than happy.
So as our friends in the back are catching up, directly behind me here, this is a piece of the hospital building. The hospital is split up into 3 sections. We have Whitman, Wilson, and then the infirmary, which we'll see later tonight as we drive up there. Amazing history to the infirmary. In fact, the infirmary used to be a tuberculosis hospital. It was opened up in it was opened in 1949 to quarantine people with tuberculosis. And then after that, it became our infirmary that housed a lot of the residents here that had long-term illnesses or were terminally ill as well. And I think the most significant thing about the history is that it had our most famous case that involved a patient here at Penhurst, and his name was Nicholas Romeo. And Nick Romeo, to kind of give some backstory on this guy who lived in the infirmary, Nick Romeo was a man who had an IQ of 7. He loved his father greatly. His father was like this huge inspiration on his life. His father dies at a very pivotal point in his life, and Nick couldn't even really conceptualize that his father passed on. At the open casket, he was trying to wake up his father, and then with his case, his mother was incapable of taking care of him. In fact, Nick Romeo was found chained to a radiator before coming to Penhurst. And then he comes to Penhurst and lives inside of the infirmary. And Nick Romeo was taught how to box from his dad. And Nick Romeo was constantly searching for his father here at Penhurst. And he would hit people, and not really with mean intentions. In fact, when he would hit people, he would smile, and then he would do a stem where he would bite his wrist, acting like it was playful. It was a very playful thing for him. Didn't know he was hurting people. Yeah. And Nick Romeo would have to be restrained because of this. In a 30-day month, Nick Romeo was restrained for a total of 18 days, 6 hours minimum per day. And to a chair inside the infirmary, and caused a huge lawsuit that changed the world of how we use restraints in hospitals and nursing environments, anything like Penhurst that's against the person's will, where they can no longer use it for extended periods of time. In the correction. Yep, exactly. And it's called the least restrictive environment clause. And that came because of Nick Romeo. He changed the world. And that happened inside the infirmary. Nick Romeo was hit with the toilet scrub. And what kind of really broke the camel's back was that they found an imprint of a toilet scrub on his back because he was hit constantly by the staff members. And think of a light toilet scrub, you'd have to do a lot to leave an imprint in a toilet scrub. Yeah, but I say that because there was over 30 lacerations found. It was over 30. Hit on his back, yeah. But definitely, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff that was used here, the restraints, yeah, it's like right on what you said. It's like metal. You know what I mean? It's like metal. It's hard, but
I was in prison. They would take the toilet brush, they burn it. They had to clean with it as soon as they were done with it.
So I want to take us up to our next stop. Do you guys have any questions before we go up there? I'm going to start taking us towards the administration building.
Well, I know you got two of them that had to run up to the men's room. The girls just not to the men's room.
Okay. Well, then I'll radio her and she'll know where to catch up with us.
But just like you know, you got two of them that had to go that way.
Yep.
Are you guys doing all that?
Oh, that's blocked off.
Luckily, you wanted to road.
Yeah, they went through there. She just walked them through.
We're gonna go into the road.
No, wouldn't mind going.
Do you mind going under the road?
I do have to pee, but I'm too intrigued on this, so.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. No.
Yeah, I'm going up like that.
I survived the rope at Penhurst. Sorry, guys.
I want to see Bart kind of a little underneath that. That ought to be hysterical.
All right. I guess they'll be catching up. They have already got.
Now he really has to limbo under.
Yeah, he's gonna. That's his responsibility. Inmates, Roland Johnson.
Here's the ticket booth right there.
And he grew up during segregation here at Penhurst. We were picked on racially by staff members and by others. And Roland Johnson tell his mother all the time before that he wants to go home. And the mother goes, Roland, now you can play one more time. I'm going to write your name on the screen so the paper can send you a punishment board. And a punishment board would be for a person that goes to the second floor where you have to clean up food and you have to work for hours and hours just because he was trying to get his voice out. Talk about what was happening. The state themselves still stuck on their voice.
What building is it that I see the red light in?
They blacked out.
Okay.
That's a whole thing.
So look for the.
So there you go. It's an easy way, guys. Right there. Home base. Uh-oh. I was wondering when you would show up, Howard. Hold on, Howard. Don't go anywhere. Chrissy, I got a Howard.
Hi, Howard.
Howard's on my show now. That's him. You want to yell at him?
Yes.
Go ahead, yell at him.
Howard.
Howard. Hey, buddy. How are you?
What do you say?
I've got to support Hey Boo. I see how you are, Howard. So I'm just second in the mushroom second.
Do you remember me, Howard?
Let's see.
Do you remember me?
You have 30 seconds to answer or you're in trouble.
Yep.
Hey, B. I'm going to pass this to you. I have to be.
Where? Oh, Kitty. There's a cat. Kitty, if you come near me, you're coming home with me.
I love you all, but you ain't coming.
In their heyday, it was 10,000 patients, 2,000 at Eloise.
Yeah.
How many
buildings did you guys have?
78. 78 over 902 acres.
That's close to Penhurst. We were 1,400. Yeah, I wish I could see more images of what the institute was like with the other buildings. I've only seen a few images.
They the Eloise book.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was so much really involved. Yeah, I know Jim and everything that would be there, but everybody is, they all know what everybody knows. I have a lot of, I've been studying Eloise for that's amazing. First time I'm from the other side of town there, I see it, but I have
Yeah, then they drop it in the toilet. You gotta hold it like this.
Talk to your son.
You ready to keep dogs?
Just the state.
I just want to say like he ran over real quick. Oh, thank you.
Yep.
We're waiting on.
Feel free to ask questions. I'm not talking about history.
To the front of admin last. So we're just we're using the bathroom. Yeah, they're using the bathroom and doing all that good
They're
stuff.
just, we're
Getting
gonna,
pizza.
we're right, then we're gonna go back to
I'm gonna go get a drink. So let me show you guys real quick. What? Yeah, just need to get a drink. It's right here. I'm gonna show you guys home base real quick. So this is our home base. No, that's not Annabelle. That's her cousin Anna Lee. I think, I don't know. Here's our home base. Everybody's got their equipment and whatnot. They got shirts and hats and a bunch of stuff. Holy crap. Look at all this. There's Jason. What do you grab? Jason found something to eat. There's Chrissy.
Howdy.
Right there. That is the good stuff. Pertinent for an investigation right there. Energy drinks. Hope you guys are enjoying this live stream because this is going to be the only thing you're going to see until after. Oh, those are cool. Okay. Here we go. Hey, babies. You heard it here first. Wicked Queen is cold. I wanted to show this. Any Mets fans down there? It says Mets. Oh, there you go. Introduce yourself.
I'm Aiden Wilson. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and sadly, he's Scotty's son. Oh, God. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, Aiden, what do you think of Penhurst?
It's very sad, overwhelming. Very, very overwhelming.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Oh, by the way, Howard said yes. So, are you excited to investigate them?
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
What part are you looking forward to?
All of it, I
All of
guess.
it. I'm honestly interested in these tunnels. I really want to see. We have a UFP, unidentified flying pendulum.
Ask a question.
Why is there a pendulum in front of my face?
Shut up.
Do you want me to shut up? I'm going to take that as a maybe.
Well, I haven't exactly explained to them how it works. But the swinging back and forth wasn't me. Because everybody knows that I can fucking do that. Wasn't me.
I know, right? We got you.
So is he okay?
I think it's just nursery right now. He's doing better.
All right. Before we hit the investigation, come over to the car. I got some things that he might be able to help protect him from some of those emotions. And if you want anything, let us know too. We got some crystals, we got sage, we got some of that stuff that she had. I can give him something to where he starts getting anxiety. It's like an aerosol.
This might work too. I know it's negative.
Bonset? Maybe. Bonset might. I think I'm saying it right. Bonset? These bonesies. On that, that's all my You guys ain't coming.
Before we go investigating, I need to put my flannel back on.
Yep.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Ah, Valerie Wright. What is up, Val? How are you tonight from the Ravens Call?
My toes.
Ow. My knee just cracked. Mayflower. And while we are live, I just want to let everybody know the investigation itself. The investigation itself. Oh, Valerie said it's the queen. It's the queen, the wicked queen. I just want to let everybody know that the investigation itself will be a 2-hour uncut, maybe even we're talking about it. It might be 3, whatever, but the main investigation will not be seen until the Global Ghost Hunt. It is exclusive footage for the Global Ghost Hunt. And then afterwards, I will be editing some of the video for this. And you guys will be able to see everything else we caught and all that other stuff. But you'll see 2 hours minimum of raw footage from Penhurst from tonight. And then we will be going live again later on after the investigation is completed to let you know how it went and let you know everybody's all right. Yeah, so you guys don't want to miss it. But again, if you're just joining us, thank you so much. We are here at Penhurst, and I got Scotty here. You got Scotty Too Hottie. You got Lillison Queen herself, Chrissy. We got a whole slew of amazing paranormal investigators, very knowledgeable. There, hold on a second. Let me turn my camera around for y'all. Give me a second. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Hey, guys. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry. Okay. Get out of there. Come on. You can do it. There it is. So we will be, we're going to be having some fun, and we've got a lot of great investigators here, very knowledgeable staff. And again, if everybody could go to Penhurst and give some great reviews, and honestly, go to Google Maps, go to Penhurst, and say why you like Penhurst. What is your favorite thing about it? They're looking for a little love. So we do what we do, right?
Do what we do.
Do what we do.
Do what we do.
And I know the Wicked Queen, she wants to do some things. There's some little challenges, some hallways and stuff that people don't.
One hallway, not in this one, but in the other building.
Whatever, man. You can come on.
What's up, everybody? My name is Noah. How's everyone doing tonight?
Where are you from?
I'm from Indiana.
Indiana. Wow. No.
Hometown. I have no choice.
Scotty drug him along. Huh?
Yep. Here's Scotty.
You gotta talk to Scotty about taking people like that. We gotta tell Scotty.
No more Hoosiers.
You good, man? You all set? Ready?
Yeah. Did you guys have something for me? I was told.
Yeah. After we get to the admin building, we'll head back over and we'll help you out. We got something for you. It'll help. It'll help.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, no worries, man. This is what we're here for. Here to help and look out for each other.
But no, it's in the other building that we were in with the candy room.
Yep.
There's a hallway that apparently nobody can walk down by themselves.
So,
and since he's doing the tunnel, I get to do the hallway because he won't let me do the tunnel. So I get to do the hallway.
Yeah, there is tunnels literally underneath here. Like you guys can't see it all.
So these these catwalks that I'm standing on.
Here, watch out. Right there.
These catwalks that I'm standing on, underneath all of them are tunnels that connect every door.
Yeah, there's posts like this that basically have little like catwalks, like the Wicked Queen said. All of this underneath here is a tunnel. There's a challenge here at Penhurst to where they challenge some people to go down and be by yourself in these tunnels for about 10 minutes. They said about 10 minutes. So myself, Scotty, a couple others, we're doing it. I will be. So I'm not gonna be live streaming that one because obviously you're gonna be down there in the dark.
Yeah, you can't have your flashlight.
So I'm going to go down there with IR and I'm going to see what happens. I don't know. And then I'm going in naked. I'm going in naked. I don't want no D's. Yeah. I couldn't resist. So I will be doing that. And she's going to be doing some things by herself.
No, I'm just doing the hallway by myself.
Yep. So, and then we're going to have radios, so we're all safe and everything like that. Staff will be here all night long, which I'm excited about. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Valerie, when does the investigation start? Brian is absolutely right. Excuse me, we are just doing a walkthrough right now. We've already been through some of these buildings behind us. There's a building over here, a hospital we've been to. We've walked all around the property. We're going to go over here to the admin building yet. We still have this to go to. So you guys are going to stick around for that. And then
if you want to see the investigation, like Brian says, you got to go watch the Global Ghost Hunt.
Let's see you guys. So I'm really excited about this, but just to give you an idea, like they haven't really done much. They maintained it. I mean, this is base. Base is right in there. It's inside there. So it's a cool gift shop too, by the way. But like I said, if everybody could please go onto Google Maps, whatever, and give some love to Penhurst, because just like with Waverly, they need some help. So maybe put something in the review section. I'm gonna turn it this way. It's uncomfortable. There we go. Yo, because just like with Waverly, Penhurst is needing some love. So if we could please go to Google, write a review on why you love Penhurst, why it is important to you, because just like with the Global Ghost Hunt, locations are important to us. They're very important. So here we go. I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to continue on with the walkthrough. So we are going to the admin side. Here we go. And I don't know if you guys caught it earlier, but the Wicked Queen said that these lights right here are basically the same ones we have at the house. That's cool. What is the price for Penhurst? If you guys are interested in the price before I sign off tonight, I will show you. They do have a little bit of a price list, so I will show you guys. But there's all of our cars over there. Kind of hard to see. But here we go. Turn on the light.
Darn. I got a nap this tonight. I wrote the clip.
You want to introduce you guys? Introduce yourselves. I'm live, brother, by the way.
Oh, you are? Oh, glad. My name's Ace. I live for this stuff. We're out of Detroit, Michigan area.
Okay.
First time here, of course, but I've been on a bucket list for many, many, many years. Glad to be here. We could not ask for better weather.
Right, right.
Sure. We had some difficulties with our vehicle, but we're here.
Now, did I hear you're a consultant as well?
Pardon me?
You're a consultant, from what I heard. There's several teams.
Yeah, I work with 5 different teams in 3 states. But
As
I
I
was a
was saying,
caretaker for Eloise for many, many years in Detroit.
as I was saying,
Very nice.
was only used for
So,
office.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
People ever lived
Kinda
inside
fun.
of this facility. It was used for also psychological evaluation as well, but for a lot of people that were coming to Penhurst to live here for their first time, that was going to be then walking up through the steps there, and then doing the registration process, and then assigned a ward that they were going to live inside of. And one thing that was huge with this administration process, especially for facilities like Penhurst State Schools, was an IQ test. And Autumn mentioned it briefly that, you being hopeful and you being a working patient, you being hopeless
Right.
was how we evaluated people here. And we kind of determined that through the IQ test. And your IQ test, as we mentioned, determined the life that you were going to receive here. And your score puts you into a category of feeble-mindedness. And so from 70 below is what was mostly admitted here.
Okay.
So from 70 to 50 IQ, the highest hopeful, or actually what was seen in society in the lens of eugenics, the most dangerous category of feeble-mindedness was the category of moron. These individuals were seen to be able to blend in to society better because being considered higher functioning. Then we have 50 to 25 IQ, which is the category of imbecile.
and then that was the most average range for a Penhurst resident was the category of imbecile.
Are you telling me these are actual terms that
Yes,
you describe
yes,
people?
yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then from 25 to 0 IQ was the category called idiot.
Oh my God.
And I know just by looking at your faces and hearing your question, never really thought about where our, the phrases we use in society, where they came from. These weren't insults as we use them today. These were textbook definitions. These were terminology to describe intellectual disabilities.
Well, it's like the word retarded. That came from
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
now historically,
I was just
especially
gonna
with our
say that,
history here, we don't use that on this site because of its history, and especially and especially from what my friends say and my friends in the disability community, it's the R word to disabled people is the N word for Black people.
Oh,
It's used.
It is, and
that much.
it's such a shame though because of the
Oh, I
newer
know.
that. Again, I was raised with 3 very retarded cousins, and I grew up with them, and they were my same age. It was never in our entire lives ever growing up. It was never. It was again that word though. It was not. It was not insulting. It was not. That would be there. It wasn't like. But unfortunately.
It's not what I'm saying on it's how I say it, so I'm black or not.
It is, but it was just, mentally retarded. It wasn't a horrible thing, but it sure got to be now a person's challenge.
Yeah, and the reason why I bring this up in with our history is so we can kind of see where this came from and why this is a problem. Because quite frankly, today, we can't use idiot, moron, imbecile, and MR anymore,
right?
Because now these are slurs for disabled people. So that's why we have intellectual, developmental disabled.
Sure.
And
always will.
And always, it's not to control people's speech. It's just because of kindness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people, in the disability community, it's like that is, it's a very traumatic, triggering word for people. But also for some people, it's it doesn't mean anything. It's just a word. But one thing that we try to really push with our history today, especially with our site's history, is that we don't use MR, and we only let people that were our staff members that worked with it. That was the term. We let them use it out of respect to the people that live here, using it in that historical context. But but that's with our terms. But yeah, idiot, moron, imbecile, those were all used to insult. I mean, those were all used as terminologies. Right.
Categories.
Exactly.
Categories.
And the crazy thing, and the most fascinating thing I find about this is that these terminologies hold such a weight onto these people's lives that lived here, because to be labeled an idiot in this institution was beyond a death sentence. It meant a death sentence, but almost like solitary confinement, because it would have meant that you were seen as the most hopeless. And the only type of care that you were going to receive as an individual labeled an idiot would be just getting fed and changed. And to even look at how we failed people because of the IQ test. An individual like Stephen Hawking, who's a brilliant person, he has ALS, and ALS has him where he's incapacitated. He can't move, he can't speak, but he has technology that lets him move and speak. But if Stephen Hawking with ALS grew up without the technology, he would have been institutionalized in Penhurst. And the stigma about that is that people would have viewed Stephen Hawking and would have seen him as an individual that has nothing going on inside of his head. He's just a vegetative, worthless human being.
If there's something grabbing your plate, it better be me and nobody else.
It's not me. I'm over here.
Well, do you want me to put his wallet in your pants? So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Put the wallet in my pants.
I don't have any money to sell trade.
Yeah.
These are people with PhDs, man. I don't get it.
Valerie, no, sadly.
Get your whole self together.
I'll find out.
Get your whole self together.
Get her.
What you gonna do?
I'm sorry. I didn't potty train any of them, so they're kind of loose.
No.
So that there.
You know what? I love the excitement. I love that you guys are here.
We have
It's-
fun, but
it's a good vibe.
we're not.
I got icing on my hand warmer. Hey, bud. Hand warmer.
Oh, man.
I got icing on my glasses because
Icing, sure.
She's coming here.
I cannot confirm or deny if I was in the tunnel with somebody or by myself, but it's there.
Valerie Wright is saying hello to you, brother.
Hey, beautiful.
So, by the way, Valerie, and Scotty will attest to this. As soon as I saw my brother here, he comes running over, jumps into my arms, and I just picked him up and carried him.
He picked me up and carried me like a little teddy
I
bear.
have video. I have.
Oh, you had the video? I must have. Or is that an OnlyFans thing?
I mean, it could be.
It could be.
Can we make
Ooh.
some money?
Split it 3 ways?
Anybody wanting to pay for me humping Matt while he was holding me?
That's actually, that might, you know what? I can take a screenshot of that and we can even put it on a shirt. Paranormal excites me. There it is. There it is.
Going for $9.99.
$69.99.
And we'll autograph them any way you want. That could be a good thing or bad.
Teresa Hall, I'm a psychic medium from the UK. Welcome and thank you for joining us, Teresa. We are just doing a walkthrough of the infamous Penhurst. Sadly, we will not be investigating live with you guys. That is actually being saved for the Global Ghost Hunt. We are just about finished up with our walkthrough. So, sorry guys, but we will be going live at the end of the investigation to let everybody know how it went, give a little insight on what's going on.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh. Do you guys want to be in a group photo?
Elvin was private, right, Autumn?
You shut up. And when we went through
You'll be up later.
I can stay back over here and hold the camera.
All right, people, let's go. Get up on the steps. They want group photos.
Thank you.
There.
I'm hiding behind you.
No, you're standing
I'm
there. No,
hiding behind you.
no.
So down here with the Wicked Queen. You guys are gonna be in the group photo, sorry. My stream's gonna be in the group photo too.
Now they can see. You're gonna look like this, like a ghost. Hey, this guy wants to give you a phone. Okay.
So I apologize if the lighting isn't so great, but we can also do the photo tomorrow as well, so you can get a daytime. and also nighttime. Oh yeah, flashlight would be nice.
I was gonna say we all have flashlights, so we could all just set a
Have
whole
the
line.
glare on our faces.
See if it will. I don't know if it will.
Yeah, they have night
Mine,
mode.
yeah,
They
mine.
have the same.
Be careful. Be careful.
Oh, that actually is.
Yeah.
Oh, good job there.
Stay still.
Doesn't look okay without light.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Me too.
Hey,
Especially when I have no makeup on. I got quiet it all off.
Night mode works. I love night mode.
Yeah.
It's a night picture. It's gonna be okay, Dad.
Scotty, you had your eyes
My
closed.
white hair is sitting there just glistening off on the light.
Whose flashlight?
Well, I can.
Scott.
Is that yours, Scott?
Scott, your
Line up with my
flashlight.
ball.
Never mind.
Is that Scott's phone?
You guys look
Yeah.
great.
Scotty blinked.
Scotty Blank.
Scotty.
Yes.
We don't want to see those pictures because we'll need a magnifying glass.
Oh.
I was afraid Scotty was gonna turn around and pull
Go
out
up to the infirmary, just grab one of us, we'll take you out.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Bill. How are you?
We'll be here all night, and we'll be here tomorrow with you guys.
Yeah, don't pull together. Anyway.
You can get my. You can do is tell friends.
Alright, so we're gonna go over here to our Tom base, guys, and we're gonna sign off for the night. No more for you. Well, at least for now, until we get out of here. We will be done around 3:30 Eastern time, but you guys can always watch I'll play back. The replay and all that good stuff. I hate it. I think it's so moving going. I have my amp energy.
Well,
Thanks.
you have to understand, unlike you, I don't
What's all the audio? Oh, sorry. I'm getting there.
I don't have an endless supply of energy.
Thanks, man. That was great. No problem, Brian. No, not bro. You see my last comment? Hi, Liz. I just want to let you know you have. I do actually. He's right there. Somewhere back there. He's back there. There's him. I don't know if that's who you're picking up on. Alright. I'm gonna go over here. I want to get to some good lighting, guys. Alright. Come over here with a guy who is guilty for tonight. And that's my brother here, Scotty. What's up? We're getting out of here. Signing off. Good night. Have a good night. I'll see you. If anybody's who follows me, I'm going to be on live throughout the night in certain locations. So, yeah. Paranormal Jackass, right? Paranormal Jackass. We're not doing Jackass style, man. What bigger Jackass? Right? Alright, guys. Y'all have yourselves a great rest of your night. Have fun. Stay safe. As always, guys, happy hauntings.